Quick shout out to the sponsor of this video, Boingvert. Boingvert is the best-selling jumping program for athletes in the world with over 500,000 users. On average, users have gained 10.3 inches on their jump, there's no weights necessary, and the program can be done right at home with 24/7 customer service. If you're interested, the link to the program will be both in the comment section and in the description, and be sure to use my promo code DOM2K for 20% off of your purchase. And just like that, guys, we are in the NBA playoffs. My life is flashing right before my eyes. This is going so fast. This is a very exciting time. I'm excited. We're all excited, even though we can probably guess how this is going to end. But it is that small tinge of hope that keeps us coming back. And playoff time for me means that it's time for me to unveil my playoff bracket, which will almost 100% be wrong. You just never know, man. You get to the playoffs, these teams start acting different, just a couple of shots clink off the side of the rim and you got a totally different outcome. I don't care, this is still fun. So if this is your first year watching me, and especially because I normally do this on the bigger channel, I do these in two videos. I do the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference because I like to get a little bit in depth about why I'm picking what I'm picking. And I'm gonna go ahead and start with the Western Conference because we've got some very interesting matchups now and some very interesting matchups that are gonna happen down the road. Thank God. We had some wizardry happen last night. So our first matchup sees the Clippers playing the Golden State Warriors, and god damn it, man, Jesus just really loves Golden State. It's not that they were going to lose to whoever they played in the first round, but it would have just been more entertaining and more challenging to see them play OKC or San Antonio. And for like the last week of the playoffs, they were playing hot potato with that A spot, and we still wound up with the Clippers. So yeah, anyways, it's a sweep. Look, no disrespect to the Clippers, they definitely surpassed people's expectations by even making the playoffs this year, and they've been pretty solid. But this is the Warriors' all-time starting five versus a team that is really going into free agency this year hoping that they can sign just maybe one superstar player. And yeah, I just don't think this is going to be a fun matchup, and I don't think I need to elaborate on it anymore. You guys can clearly see where I'm coming from here. Moving right along though, we have a rematch last year, which was the semifinals, I believe, and it is going to be the Rockets and Jazz. This is part of the wizardry I was talking about last night because we were supposed to get the Rockets and the Thunder, but the Blazers, who were playing like 6 players last night, we're talking about their B team, they were down by like 25 points. Came back and won the game and changed like the whole playoff seeding, so they slid into the 3rd spot and Houston got the 4th spot. So I'm actually kind of happy about that because that was going to lead to either Houston or OKC being knocked out of the first round. And although with the way things have shaken out, they're probably not going to meet at all, I'm much happier with both teams being able or having a realistic shot at making the 2nd round. It's just more fun when the 2nd round, the deeper you get into the playoffs, the better the teams are. That's way more fun, and that's what I expect to happen here. I think the Rockets are probably going to handle the Jazz in about 5 games, pretty much a repeat of last year. The Rockets are whole now. They're healthy. All that really matters is what happens when you get into the playoffs, and they've had this whole year of people being in and out. Towards the end of the season, they caught this nice bill of health where everybody's back and they get to gel. And yeah, if not for last night, they could have finished. Actually, they had potential to finish the 2nd seed last night, so after that terrible start and everybody being out, they were still almost 2nd seed. So I think that says a lot about what this Houston team really is versus what we saw this season, where they've won 14 less games, I believe, than last season. So yeah, the Jazz got them a couple of times earlier this season, but the Rockets came away with the latter 2 games. And yeah, screw what the seeding says, I still believe that Houston is the 2nd best team in the West, so I have them over the Jazz in about 5 games. That leads us to the Blazers and the Thunder. And although, yes, I was slightly disappointed we didn't get the Rockets and the Thunder, this is a nice consolation prize. They have a little bit of a storyline going on between Damian Lillard and Russell Westbrook, and people are expecting a good match from this. However, I think we are going to see more of the same. I think the Blazers are out. I mean more of the same in terms of Lillard having a good season and the Blazers looking pretty good, only to kind of disappoint in the playoffs. Only this time, I think it really, well, I don't think, I know it really hurts them that they lost Nurkic. I think that a lot of people have always just seen the Blazers as CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard, but Nurkic was really playing a good role for them this year, and losing him to that tragic leg injury no more than like 2 weeks ago, that hit them hard. And if they still had him, I would actually give them a better chance against the Thunder. But I got the Thunder in 6 here. See, last year when OKC lost to the Jazz, I thought things were different. The Jazz were a really good defensive team. The Thunder hadn't really messed with Westbrook and Paul George the way they have this season when they were both healthy. But yeah, the Thunder have taken all 4 matches this season. I think that they're a better team. But I can still see it going 6 with the fact that Paul George has not been as healthy down the stretch. He's been playing, but that shoulder has clearly been ailing him. But either way, I really think OKC should take that series. And then, yes, Lord, we got the Nuggets and the Spurs. This is what everybody wanted. The Spurs are one of the more dangerous 7 seeds out there, and they make it very hard to predict what's going to happen here because they're one of those teams that could lose in the first round. But they're also one of those teams that you wouldn't be so surprised if they made it to the conference finals either. Especially because of the path, right? Let's just say they did get past the Nuggets. They played the Thunder well this season. They had some really good matches. So they have a realistic path to get to the conference finals. But again, highly unpredictable because let me tell you about my feelings with the Nuggets if you don't follow me on Twitter. I do think that they're pretenders in terms of like contending for a championship or beating some of these other teams that have like actual playoff star power. I think they're pretenders in that sense, but I've watched them. They're still a really good team. I'm not going to disrespect them to that level. And I don't think that they're such pretenders that they're going to lose a series where they have home court advantage to a team that they've played pretty well this season who is not a great road team. So I'm going to say Nuggets in 6. But I'm going to keep a heavy eye on that series because I'm not saying this just to hedge the bet. I really truly believe that the Spurs are that team that maybe they will lose to the Nuggets in the first round, but maybe they also will carve out a path to the conference finals because with the teams that they would have to go through, it is very doable for them. So that gives us a second round of the Warriors and Rockets. Oh Lord. And then on the other side, we would have the Denver Nuggets and the Oklahoma City Thunder. That is an awesome second round. And you know why I'm so happy about that is because of what happened last night. The 4-5 matchup would have just been the Jazz and the Blazers. So that means the Warriors would have went through the Clippers and then they would have just played the Jazz or the Blazers next, which means you could have just slept through their first 2 rounds because neither one of those teams could hold a candlestick to them in a playoff series. I'm not buying it. However, unless there's injury or unless there's a major upset, we will see a Western Conference Finals rematch in the second round. But nevertheless, Warriors in 6. So things have changed since last year. Obviously, Golden State has added DeMarcus Cousins. But the other part is, remember, if you've watched enough of my videos, you know my feelings about the conference finals. I think Iggy is a lot more important to that team than people like to admit because a lot of people just look at stats and they look at paper. But I think with Iggy in that series, like if the Warriors just don't have any injuries, I don't think they go to the brink of losing and have to take it all the way to 7. I think a healthy Warriors team playing the regular rotations would have probably beaten the Rockets the way they looked like they were going to beat them when the series started. But like I said, this year things are just totally different. You got Cousins spreading the floor even more, and the Rockets more or less are coming back with the same team as last year. They've got some different additions. They got Kenneth Faried, you got Austin Rivers, but as far as like that main core, you still got Capella, Paul, Harden, Tucker. They really did not make a Cousins addition, obviously. That would have been hard for any good team. And yeah, while I'm excited to see this series because this is 2 great offenses, you have very exciting players. You got Chris Paul and Harden on one side of Kevin Durant and Steph Curry and Klay. Like, it's just a fun series to watch, and I believe the Warriors can lose some games. And as we saw last year, if some different things happen, all of a sudden you've got a much different series on your hands. So that's why I am happy to see the Rockets there and not the Jazz and the Blazers. But I still think the Warriors, if both teams are healthy, they're going to handle this in about 6 games. That's what I think. The last time they played, they went into Houston. They didn't even have Kevin Durant. They just gave DeMarcus Cousins all those shots instead, and they pretty much manhandled them most of that game. So I think that says a lot, but it just confirms what we already think about Golden State. Just for the record, I would love for Houston to win that series because then we could have a seriously competitive and suspenseful NBA Finals. But I don't go with my heart in these predictions, as you will see when I get to the East. And then you have the Nuggets and the Oklahoma City Thunder. My heart wants so badly to say the Thunder have got the star advantage and that they could prove the Nuggets are pretenders and knock them out in the second round. That's what my heart wants me to say because I would love to see OKC and the Warriors in the conference finals, if not for anything but the storyline. But unless MVPG comes out, I think the Nuggets can handle this. See, the thing is, Paul George's shoulder has really messed with a lot of what I was thinking during the season. Because during the season, it was looking like we could really be headed for a OKC Golden State Western Conference Finals. That really looked likely. But if George cannot consistently dominate like he did against the Jazz that one night in that triple OT game, or double OT, whatever it was, if he can't turn that mode on where he was being called MVPG, where he had those multiple 30-point games and 40-point games, if he can't be that guy, I think the Nuggets will have the advantage here because, again, the Nuggets are pretenders to me. They have a very good chance to get knocked out by either of these guys, the Spurs or the Thunder, but I think they're still good enough to get these jobs done. It's very hard to explain. I've got Nuggets in 6 there. That would, oh goodness, that would set us up with the Warriors and Nuggets Conference Finals. It's a sweep. Warriors 4-0. Now this, like I said, I don't do this with my heart, I do it with what I think. Because if it was just with my heart, if we had to have the Warriors up here, of course I would rather see OKC playing them in the conference finals. And if I didn't have to be realistic at all, I would love it to just not have the Warriors at all. I would love them to be upset in the second round by Houston. That would be amazing. But given that I don't see that happening, a pretty cool Western Conference playoffs will come to a very, very predictable ending. The Nuggets just do not match the Warriors well. It's one of those situations, like, I've been talking about the Nuggets being compared to the 2015 Hawks all year, and not specifically in roster composition, but in the fact that this is a great team, but they're not that team that has a chance to get into the playoffs where they have that one player that they can just say, go take over. And so that's why I think their potential to be upset is so high. But if it does turn out like the 2015 Hawks and they do make it to the conference finals, that is where they will meet their makers, just like the Hawks did. They will be playing the realest team in the West, what we all know is actually the best team in the NBA, and it will not be entertaining, man. That's a sucky way to end the Western Conference playoffs. But I think a lot of you out there are on the same frequency. You hope the Warriors lose because you want to see something interesting, but realistically, is somebody going to beat this team out here 4 times? Healthy? Let me go ahead and make sure that's there. I'm talking about healthy. If they lose somebody, then maybe. But healthy, is that going to happen 4 times in a series? I don't think so. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Hit the like button, comment, and sub if you enjoyed, and I will have the Eastern Conference playoff predictions out tomorrow. Probably a little bit earlier because I think my main channel is going to get a post as well. So yeah, just follow me on Twitter or Instagram. You'll be able to see a time when it's coming out. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.